Hey guitar teachers, welcome back. So today we're talking about this guy. This is the Fernando Sor Complete Studies, Lessons and Exercises for Guitar. This is Tecla 101. This book contains Opus 6, Opus 29, 31, 35, 44, 60, and then exercises from Sor's method book. So when it says complete, it's really complete. So straight away, any intermediate or advanced classical guitarist is going to immediately see value in this, right? The Segovia Sor studies, the famous ones that everybody does, they're all in here. The two opuses, the 6 and 29 that he wrote for himself to practice and get better at guitar, they are in here. The 31 and 35 have some easier pieces in them, but there are some that are no slouch either. I think working through them will definitely improve your playing. But this is not about you, is it? Because this is a guitar teaching channel. So the question is, should a kid get this? Is there value for beginners in this tome of Sor exercises? You and me, we both know Sor for, again, the Segovia studies and stuff like that, but can a kid play Sor too? And the answer to that, of course, is yes. There's absolutely a wealth of pieces in here that guitarists of any level can enjoy. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so we've already discussed that the famous Segovia Sor studies are in here, so at some point your kids are going to need them, right? But what about when they're brand new? The first place that I would look would be Opus 60. Opus 60 is pretty famous for having some very accessible pieces. I will say there are some toward the back that are pretty challenging, but there are also a lot that a first, second year student would find more than easy enough to do. I don't think that these are in graded order, so the very last one is not the most difficult, and 10 is not necessarily more difficult than 9. But going through here, you will find more than enough that are appropriate for your first, second, third year students. Opus 44, again, you can see his intention was to serve as lessons for absolute beginners. And even the first one I would not give to an absolute beginner. I can't imagine having to teach all of the notes in this. You could teach it by rote. That would be about it. But as far as going through this and have kids recognizing all the notes that they're supposed to play, that's absolutely not going to happen with an absolute beginner. First year student, though, could definitely tackle this. As it progresses, this one is a little bit trickier overall than the Opus 60. Opus 60 is by far the easiest. But, aside from that very first lesson and a couple others, I would say this is appropriate for your second, third, maybe fourth year students. Could get some good mileage out of this. Opus 35 is our 24 very easy exercises. And he's a big fan of this thing. Well, he'll start off with something that's just incredibly easy. And, it's going okay for the first few. And then it gets just a little ridiculous. I think a kid would stress out quite a bit if I put this one in front of them. Not to say that they couldn't do it, because they absolutely could. This one, second year student, maybe third year student could absolutely handle it. But it is a lot of black on the page. By the way, a note about the quality of this book. I want to point out that even on a page like this, where it's more black than anything else, there's so much room in between the margins where you can write in little notes and stuff like that, and everything's spaced out, and it's never jumbly or crowded. As a teacher, as a musician who appreciates editions where things are spaced out appropriately, it's just so nice to have an edition like this. This one, as you'll notice, progresses quite a bit faster than the other two, but there's still some good stuff in there for, second year, third year, fourth year. This would dip into some fifth year exercises. I could see some fifth year students having some trouble with a couple of these. This one right here is actually an excellent exercise for one of the variations in his Mozart variations. I can't remember the number it is, but it's the same kind of thing where you got to fit like 7 notes in a beat or 5 notes in a beat or stuff like that. So this one's great, and will give you some tools that you can use for later harder Sor pieces. And then that takes us back to Opus 31, which again starts out with a very easy piece, and then you'll see the very next one is considerably more difficult. But suffice to say that if you have this and you have a kid, no matter what level they're at, you'll pretty much always be able to find a piece that's exactly at the level that they are at. As a final note on the exercises from the method, if you've ever looked at Sor's method book, you'll know that the first 2/3 of it serves as sort of a letter to his haters, and It's interesting from a musicological standpoint in that, he talks about what he thinks goes into making a good guitar, his choices and reasoning for a lot of the things that he does, his technique and stuff like that. As an actual method book, it's terrible. Like, I can name a good 4 or 5 other method books from this time period that are just by far better. But that is not to say that his method book is not without its merits. So personally, I'm a huge advocate for exercises in thirds, sixths, octaves, and tenths. And you'll see right here, all these thirds exercises are wonderful. All of these sixth exercises are wonderful. Going on to combine thirds and sixths in exercises is great. That's ideally what you would want to do, right? You would get them comfortable with thirds, you get them comfortable with sixths, and then you would combine them until they have some sort of fluency between the two. All in all, would highly recommend this book. This is a book that you could have a kid get maybe 6 months into playing guitar and they would use it until they were 60 years old. Now, I don't know about you, but personally, I'm a big advocate for having my kids get things that I think there are a lot of value in. I think it's because I grew up without too much money. But the idea that you can grab this book for about $35 and, again, find exercises that will work for a student that's been playing for 6 months, as well as one that's been playing 6 years, as well as one that's been playing 16 years. I mean, really, who could ask for more? And the fact that it's all music by probably our most famous late classical, early romantic composer is just icing on the cake. All right, so that was our look at Tekla 101, the Fernando Sor Complete Studies, Lessons and Exercises for Guitar, edited by Brian Jeffrey. Great guy. There's a link down in the description if you want to buy this. If you're in the US, I have some for sale on eBay. I think I have a couple left. Otherwise, if you're in Europe, UK, something like that, you can buy them from Tekla. They'll get there much faster from Spain than they will from the United States. Thank you for watching. May all your kids be perfectly practiced this week, and I will see you later.